And we're back at it again. Happy Wednesday, middle of the week, towards the end of the month. It's the 22nd day of January, 2020. I'm Dan Coons, your host. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life channel. We'd like to keep you informed. We'd like to keep you entertained. We'd like to challenge your brain just a tad bit for an hour each weekday morning, and we'll endeavor to do that again today. We're in for another day, kind of like what we had yesterday. Going to have a little bit of light snow this morning, it looks like. It's going to switch over to a little bit of rain. Not nearly, just kind of there. It's just kind of there, sort of like yesterday. And then a big atmospheric river is coming our way tomorrow. We're going to be very mild and very wet in the form of rain. We've had some reports this morning of some black ice out there on the roads around north central Washington. Not so much here in the valley proper, but in other locations. You're gonna find some black ice. So I just wanted to give you a quick heads up on that. We'll give you complete forecast details in just a couple moments. Plus, we'll take you up, of course, to the major mountain passes. A lot of news to get to. Boy, newsroom is hopping. Yesterday, we got a full plate of things to get you going information-wise here in just a couple minutes. We'll have the latest sports, of course. Mike McNally's got an opinion. He always does. We got some celebrity birthdays. We got the obscure holiday. We got today in history, and in the back half of the hour, it's a brand new program that we've introduced about a month ago. Steve Hair, our special news correspondent, hosts a program called In Focus. When he has a chance to sit down and talk to some of the leaders and newsmakers around north central Washington, he had a chance to sit down with Chelan County Sheriff Burnett about a week ago, and we will have that conversation in its entirety in the back half of the program. If you just can't wait that long, you can watch In Focus episodes on our website at ncwlife.com. A couple minutes after the hour, 27 degrees, a little cloudy, a little misty. Here we go, around the valley with our Valley View cameras. Of course, we always begin with the cross camera, then the other three cameras that we go to, I don't know until we throw them up on the screen for the first time. We call it Megan's Choice, and yesterday I didn't do very good on guessing what we were looking at. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. Always begin with the cross camera. For one thing, it's a very cool view. And for another thing, that's where most of the people in the north central Washington area live, is right there. Oh, look, I can see my house. So we say good morning to Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. That's a 4K camera. I mentioned that before. So this is this camera has 4 times the resolution of a normal HD camera, and even the normal HD cameras look pretty darn good to me. So it looks like Megan has it tilted up a little bit, but then zoomed out just a little bit from our cross camera, right, located adjacent to the cross at the end of Wenatchee Heights. Now it's the guessing game. Camera 2, where's Megan taking us? It's a slow dissolve to, oh, that's a beautiful view of that area there with the mountains there and the thing. Okay, you did that on purpose, Megan, so I would have no idea what I'm looking at. Help me out. Megan says the clouds just moved over in the last few minutes before. That was a beautiful view of what? I still don't know what we're looking at. Oh, that's okay. So that's the Appalachians camera. So somewhere down there is Kashmir. You should be driving with your headlights on anyway, because it's dark and the sun won't be up until 7:38. But I would turn on your fog lights as well if you're in the lovely hamlet of Kashmir. Sunrise this morning will be at 7:38. Sunset tonight 4:47. That's 9 hours and 9 minutes of daylight. Camera number 3. I can't wait. Well, that one I know. That's from the camera itself is from the roof of the Cascadian. I believe we're pointing down towards the Pybus Public Market. Is that correct, Megan? So we can see the Works Gym and the Pybus and somebody on a bicycle cruising on by. We'll be visiting with our friends at the Pybus Public Market, by the way, next week. It's a regular feature. Megan and I go down and we talk to Leslie at the Pybus Public Market about all the upcoming events for the forthcoming month, and we will be doing that next week. It's always great to be down at Pybus where communities meet. And it's been a tremendous addition to the Wenatchee Valley, no question about that. Camera number 4. It is, well, that's Valley High. I'm getting used to that camera now. That one threw me for a loop for a while. The Valley High camera is up and running, has been for about a month. That's on the way up to Blewett Pass, but right now traction tires are advised. They do have a winter weather advisory still for the Cascades going on for the rest of the day today. They're going to get a lot of snow again today in the Cascades. They started out way behind snowpack, and it was very dry November and December, and then everything changed towards the end of December, and they've been having a lot of snow up in the Cascades, and that's mighty fine for everybody. Lots of snowpack is what we want. What I want is lots of snowpack in the Cascades and almost no snow here in the Wenatchee Valley, so the golf courses can open as soon as they possibly can. So good morning to Valley High. on this Wednesday. Good stuff from Megan. 5 minutes after the hour, almost 6 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday. What do we have? Well, another round of snow for the Cascades. This is round 2. This is the snow total expected from 10 o'clock today until 10 o'clock on Thursday. As I mentioned, they still have a winter weather advisory. So you can see Stevens Pass anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of snow. Mazama, you're going to get another round of snow up there. Also Winthrop, as you might imagine, a good 4 to 6 inches. But as you can see here in the Wenatchee Valley, just like yesterday, probably even less snow than yesterday. We had some heavy wet snow come down for about an hour. It melted rather rapidly. It switched over to rain for a while. In fact, we topped off at 35 degrees, which is just about normal. Our low yesterday was 28, just about normal. So you can say yesterday was very normal, and today is going to be very normal as well. As you can see, just not a lot out there as far as snow in the lower elevations. But again, Cascades, here you go. Lots of snow. Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling bringing you your forecast. They give your home a hug from the National Weather Service. This is what we're looking at. That upper level trough that brought that rain and snow to the region is exited the area, but there's a much warmer and much wetter system lined up. It's approaching off the coast, and here we go. So today we're going to get kind of a break between the two systems. Really not a lot happening today. Could get a little bit of a light snow and then a rain-snow mix. The snow level is going to hover around 1,100 feet, but there's just not a lot of moisture out there. So again, maybe a half an inch of snow possible this morning before it melts away. We'll top off at about 36 degrees. Very strange weather. We're going to get down to about 33 later on this afternoon, and then it's going to actually get warm. It's going to warm up as this next trough comes through. Very mild. So we're looking at rain overnight tonight instead of snow, and rain right out on the Thursday. So the temperature is going to get down to about 33, but starting about midnight into Thursday, it's going to get warmer and warmer and warmer. It's kind of a weather anomaly. It doesn't happen that much. So we're going to be up to near 38 or 39 degrees by this time tomorrow, and lots of rain in the forecast on Thursday and especially Thursday night. Quite a bit of rain. We don't have that shown up graphically, but Thursday, about a 70% chance of rain. That goes up to about a 100% chance of rain on Thursday night. Everybody's going to get rain. Look at the temperatures. We're going to be in the mid-40s on Friday with a good chance of rain. Chance of rain on Friday night, overnight low of 34. Rain likely on Saturday. Snow level is going to be nearly, 5,000 feet. Going to go way up there. In fact, the mountain passes are going to get some rain, as a matter of fact. So we're looking at a very wet period with very mild temperatures. Starts overnight tonight into Thursday. No snow for the valley, just rain, lots of it, lots of snow melt. Rainy Thursday, rainy Friday, good chance of rain on Saturday. Not quite such a good chance on Sunday. Absolutely no sunshine in the forecast at all. Very mild temperatures. They used to call this back in the day the Pineapple Express. Now they call it an atmospheric river. I guess you got to call it something. So there you go. Just get ready for a warm and wet temperature. It's going to be more like March, really, than January. It's 8 minutes after the hour. Let's take you up to the major mountain passes where it doesn't look really too bad right now. This is a live shot of I-90. Traction tires are advised. The roadway is bare and wet, a little slushy at times. You can see just a little bit of light snow coming down, really not sticking to the roadway. Again, I-90 right now, Snoqualmie Pass. Traction tires are advised. You'll notice when we go to Stevens, you'll see a lot more snow on the roadway. That's typical. There's a traction tire advisory on US 2 Stevens. They were going to do some avalanche control work at 8 o'clock this morning. They have canceled that. So you're good to go. Just make sure you got those traction tires up and running. It is snowing, as you can see on Stevens Pass. And on Blue Pass, doesn't look too bad. They still have a traction tire advisory. Nothing coming down out of the sky. The roadway is pretty much bare and wet. You'll find some compact snow and ice in places, especially right at the summit. So it's a traction tire advisory across the board on Snoqualmie Pass, Stevens Pass, and Blue Pass. They still have a winter weather advisory until 4 this afternoon. The magic number, the magic elevation, 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet and above, lots of snow. They're expecting, as you saw in the graphic, anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of snow on Stevens Pass. Less snow expected on Blewett and on Snoqualmie Pass. 3 to 5 inches tonight. And then it's going to switch over to rain on Thursday and Thursday night. Quite a bit of rain. And then occasionally a rain-snow mix. So rain-snow mix expected Thursday night, Friday. Then the next round of snow maybe Friday night into Saturday as we cool down. So right now traction tires are advised on the big three, but they are expecting significant snowfall all the way through the rest of the day and into tonight. And then it switches over to rain on Thursday and Thursday night, and the snow level will be up near, they say, close to 6,000 feet over the weekend. Lots of warm air, warm and moist air heading our way for just about everybody. 10 minutes after the hour, going to take a break and come back with a lot of news on this Wednesday morning. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we're live this morning from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
My name is Lacey Haggerty, and I'm a nurse midwife with Columbia Valley Community Health. I love all aspects of my job because it is a profession that's very committed to empowering women to make decisions in their health care that feel best for them. It's incredibly valuable to me as a midwife that I get to take care of women throughout their whole lifespan. I hope to see you at a future visit because I know you'll love having midwifery care.
Hi, my name is Jim Heinlein, owner and agent at Springwater Insurance Group, formerly known as Senior Insurance Services. There's so much new this year. In fact, we brought in a new consultant, Harley, to help us with all our Medicare changes. So if you have questions about how Plan F's going away or what drug plan should I use this year, give us a call at Springwater Insurance Group and Harley and I will solve those problems for you. 888-2600.
12 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday. I'm Dan Kuntz, 27 degrees, a little cloudy, a little misty, a little bit of a rain-snow mix possible today. Pretty much a repeat today as what we saw yesterday, and then starting overnight tonight and starting really beginning Thursday and lasting really all the way into the weekend. Very mild temperatures with considerable rainfall for the Wenatchee Valley. Here's what's making headlines. An NCW Life investigation has found a Douglas County Sheriff's deputy left the department last year under a cloud of controversy. This is a story our very own Jefferson Robbins has been working on for quite some time, and he filed this report.
It started with an $800 scratch to a Douglas County squad car. From there, it snowballed until it cost Deputy Travis Morley his career. Morley joined the Douglas County Sheriff's Office in July 2017. Sometime around August 10, 2019, his newly issued squad car struck a delineator, one of those upright reflective strips that mark the edge of the highway shoulder. At a vehicle training with fellow police officers August 14th, Morley described how the delineator snapped back and dented his hood when he drove over it at high speed. But when he reported the accident to his superiors, he wasn't able to clearly tell them where and how it happened. To find out, sheriff supervisors looked at recorded videos from Morley's onboard vehicle cameras. They found that several days' worth of videos were missing from the device memory, including the day of the accident. Morley said he deleted them.
Our investigator found that he believed that there was some honesty issues going on.
Sheriff Kevin Morris ordered an internal investigation. Deputies' vehicle recorders are always gathering video, but they're supposed to only record sound when a deputy's car is running with lights and sirens activated.
There's alarmed and unalarmed. The unalarmed have no audio. Those are the ones where you're just driving around. Those are purged through the system. The first in is the first out, so once the DVR is full, it just falls off. It gets deleted.
When Douglas County technicians examined Morley's system, they found his settings were different. The device was set to the manufacturer's default, and sound was recorded constantly on his car's backseat camera.
If possible, I'd like to just get a Samsung through Walmart. Same price as that one was.
We have no idea why that occurred. We've told our folks, if you find that it's happening, you let us know, and we will delete the audio immediately, because Washington State's two-party consent, and I expect to give our deputies that type of privacy. They know that it's recording when they're, on a call.
Morley said he'd been deleting unalarmed videos because he didn't want his private conversations and phone calls on record. Technicians managed to recover more than 500 files Morley had deleted, but none showed video from the accident. And one of the videos Morley deleted was taken while he was running lights and sirens to answer a call. Sergeant Jason DeMeyer managed the investigation. He said Morley gave false statements during their interviews and multiple conflicting answers to questions.
And you're telling me that you're okay if you believe something one time that is not fact and put it down on paper for everybody to believe until you're called on it, and then you actually go check to see if that's true or not.
At the point in time that I put it on paper, I believed it to be true.
Morley also spoke to potential witnesses about the investigation, despite official warnings not to. DeMeyer soon learned that Morley carried on extensive text and voice communications on personal business, using his department's cell phone. He made multiple calls and texts to a woman who was a witness in a major theft. DeMeyer said the contact was inappropriate and violated department policy on dealing with witnesses while a case is still open. County phone records showed Morley used his department phone at nearly 3 times the rate of any Douglas County deputy. DeMeyer found Morley had committed 13 violations of Sheriff's Department policies and directives, including tampering with car cam video, mishandling vehicles and equipment, and lack of truthfulness. On November 14th, Morley resigned prior to a hearing with Sheriff Morris. Given the facts of the case, Morris said he likely would have fired the deputy.
There's a saying in our profession, and certainly in this office, you only say it because it rhymes: if you lie, you die. And what that means is if you're dishonest, you cannot be a law enforcement officer for us.
Requests to Morley for comment through Facebook messages and relayed through the union that represents Douglas County Sheriff's deputies were not answered. Jefferson Robbins, NCW Life.
Thank you for that report, Jefferson. We do appreciate it. The Cashmere woman who led deputies on that highway chase back on January 4th near Rockon, well, she's got to answer to 4 criminal charges. 22-year-old Jessica Haley Fisk remains jailed on counts of fleeing police, hit and run, reckless endangerment, and driving on a suspended license. She was scheduled for arraignment yesterday in Douglas County Superior Court. Now, in addition to the Rock Island chase, in which she allegedly hit a guardrail and an unoccupied car, Fisk is also charged with vehicular assault for an episode back on April 1st. This was an auto wreck in Spokane, which injured 3 people. Well, a Douglas County judge must consider whether the killer in a 2013 murder at Sun Cove was properly sentenced. Oscar Alden of Snohomish, who's now 30, is serving a 19-year sentence for fatally shooting Tom Max of Lake Tapps. Max was down on all fours at the resort near Orondo when Alden shot him once in the head. Alden says his defense lawyers should have introduced evidence of his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder to argue for a shorter sentence. Well, the State Court of Appeals now says the Superior Court must hold a hearing on the matter. Alden remains in custody at the Clallam Bay Corrections Center. Well, a longtime Douglas County PUD board member will be joining a special national team of public power executives. Commissioner Ron Skagen, who's been on the Douglas County PUD board since 2007, was named to a 3-year term on the Policy Makers Council of the American Public Power Association. The council lobbies federal lawmakers on issues that affect publicly owned electric utilities. Skagen previously served on the APPA's board of directors. Well, the Wenatchee Valley College Foundation has received a grant of $20,000 from the Names Family Foundation to support student athletes. The Names Family Foundation was established in 1996 by Scott and Sis Names, who shared a passion for philanthropy and a deep interest in health and fitness. The grant will be used to support student athletes attending Wenatchee Valley College. The WVC Foundation recently received support from both the Names Foundation and Beth and Dennis Dobbs for the renovation of the Smith locker rooms. Beth Dobbs is the granddaughter of Scott and Sis Names. The Dobbs family was also a major contributor when they redid the basketball court at Smith Gymnasium about 3 years ago. Well, the U.S. Forest Service is offering people of all ages an opportunity to get out and about and do some snowshoeing in the snow-covered Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest. Snowshoeing tours are being offered in the Blewett Pass area. They begin Saturday and they continue through March 28th. There will be 5 guided outings for adults and kids at the Squawk Campground and Wenatchee Ridge. No previous snowshoeing experience is required. The guides will talk about plants, animals, birding, animal tracking, and general winter forest ecology. Now, if you're interested, you can make reservations through the Discover Your Northwest website. That's discovernw.org. And to offset the cost of the program, a donation of $15 per person is suggested. For more information, you can call the Cle Elum Ranger District at 852-1044. And that's a look at what's making news on this Wednesday morning at 20 minutes after the hour. The news team will be at it again today with a preview of the news at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Here's the anchor, my friend Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, get ready for some Seattle-like weather for the next week or so. I'll have all the details in your North Central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Granstrom will be in with the look at sports. That plus all the day's news coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
I watch the news. We hope you do too. I like to watch mine on my smart TV. You can watch it anytime you want by going to our website at ncwlife.com. You can watch yesterday's news if you missed it. It's there waiting for you, and we'll have each day's newscast Monday through Friday up and running on our website right around 5 o'clock in the evening. At the bottom of your screen are all the different ways you can get a hold of us, and boy, do you like to get a hold of us. You can use our Facebook page and drop us a line via Facebook Messenger. You can go to our website and fill out the Contact Us icon. We get that too. Email us, news@ncwlife.com, news@ncwlife.com. We also have a Twitter handle, although I've never personally Twittered. So we'd love to hear from you, our viewers. You're just as much a part of this TV station as the folks who actually are in front of the camera. 21 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got sports. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing, located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.
We're back at 22 minutes after the hour, the ever-widening world of sports. Wenatchee will have a chance to win the Big Nine regular season bowling title tomorrow after a narrow pin count victory over West Valley yesterday. The Panthers won the first 2 games behind the bowling of Kyla Hankins. The Big Nine leader rolled a 233 in the first game, 222 in the second. The Rams came back to win both Bakers, so the match came down to a pin count, and Wenatchee won that by just 116 pins. That means tomorrow's match at Eisenhower will be for the regular season title and a chance for Wenatchee to host the district tournament at Eastmont Lanes. By the way, Eastmont took care of business on the road at Minda Lanes. They downed Davis 3-1. The Wildcats will host Sunnyside Tuesday. The Cadets finish at Moses Lake. So it is possible that the Panthers and the Wildcats could finish 1-2 in the Big Nine. They've made that a habit over the last 5 years or so. Let's go to the Les Schwab Prep Wrestling scoreboard from last night, at least on the scores that were reported into us. Afraida won their non-league match at Royal, 57-21. Quincy won one of their 2 matches at Toppenish. They defeated East Valley 45-36, but the Jackrabbits match against the host team, we don't know. If you know, let us know. Coming up tonight, the Caribou Trail League will make up some of the matches that were missed because of bad weather. It's all taking place at Cashmere High School, as you see there. Cashmere will take on Omak. Chelan will take on Omak and Cascade. And then at 7, you got Cashmere and Cascade wrestling. On the Les Schwab Prep girls basketball scoreboard from last night, Haley Van Lith poured in 31 points. Cashmere all over Cascade, 69-19. Chelan surprised Omak last night. They won 38-32 in B League play. Bridgeport down to Manson 37-26, and Moses Lake Christian took care of Aniat 64-37. Boys basketball last night, Cashmere 7-0 in Caribou Trail League play with a 71-38 win at Cascade. Despite a game-high 20 points from Nate Harding, Chelan lost at home to Omak 64-58, and Riley Davis led the Pioneers with 18 points. It was also Bridgeport edging Manson last night in boys basketball, as you see there. Coming up on the women's college basketball schedule for tonight, the Wenatchee Valley College Lady Knights will be in Moses Lake. They'll take on Big Bend Community College at 5:30. That'll be followed by the men's game, as you see there, 7:30 tip-off in Moses Lake. The Baseball Writers Association of America voted 2 new members into the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum yesterday. The captain, Derek Jeter, elected on his first ballot with 99.7% of the vote. Just 1 of the 397 ballots did not include Jeter's name. He becomes the second highest vote getter behind his former teammate, Mariano Rivera, who of course was elected unanimously last year, and in front of Ken Griffey Jr. and former Colorado Rocky Larry Walker. Good for Larry, also selected in his 10th and final time. He got 304 votes. That was 6 above the 75% needed to make the Hall. They'll be inducted come July in Cooperstown. And speaking of Hall of Fames, Yeah, there'll be 2 new inductees and 1 team entered into the Wenatchee Valley College Hall of Fame. It's going to be next Friday. Carissa Martin, Nee Harley, played women's basketball from 1999 to 2001 for the Lady Knights. She'll be added to the Hall, along with longtime supporter of athletics Dalton Thomas and the 1971 NWAACC champion football team will be inducted as well. The evening is also a fundraiser for the Follow Your Dreams Scholarship Auction. It all begins next Friday, January 31st, 5:30 at the Jack and Edna Naguire Student Recreation Center on the campus of Wenatchee Valley College. Tickets are $75 a pop. You get dinner and you get drinks. Give them a call, 682-6771. Congratulations to all the inductees. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Wednesday at 26 minutes after the hour. The Obscura holiday. I like my food. I love spicy food. I just love spicy food. Don't know why. I do. Today's hot sauce day, so turn up the heat in your kitchen or on your dining table. Add a little hot sauce to everything today because it's National Hot Sauce Day. Some things go good with of hot sauce on top of it. Scrambled eggs, for instance, or an omelet. I like to put a little hot sauce on any kind of egg-based dish. I throw a little hot sauce in there. I make my chili with a fairly generous dosage of hot sauce. Of course, hot sauce can be made any number of ways. Most people consider hot sauce a condiment, but of course you can put it in. You can put it on almost anything. I'm a huge fan. Of course, the scale that they use for the hotness of the pepper and therefore the hotness of the sauce is called the Scoville scale. The higher the Scoville scale, the hotter the pepper may be. India, by the way, is not only the world's largest producer of chili peppers, which is the basic recipe for almost all hot sauces, they're also the leading consumer of chili peppers, which is why I love Indian food and Mexican food. Anything with a little bit of a kick to it is my kind of food. So whatever it is, put a little hot sauce on it today. But be careful. Be careful. 27 minutes after the hour. This is a remarkable day in history because every event I'm about ready to talk about all happened on the same day. You talk about a busy news day. January 22nd, 1973 was one of the busiest news days of the 19th century. It started out with the death of Lyndon Baines Johnson, the 36th president of the United States, died of a massive heart attack at his home, at his ranch in Johnson City, Texas, at the age of 64. That happened in the early afternoon. In the morning, the Supreme Court handed down their decision in Roe v. Wade, which of course legalized elective abortion in all 50 states. It would have been the biggest story not only of the day, but probably of the year. But then Lyndon Johnson died. Again, January 22nd, 1963, Lyndon Johnson died. The Supreme Court handed down their decision in Roe v. Wade. January 22nd, 1973, a chartered Boeing 707 crashed in Kano Airport, Nigeria. 176 people died at the time. It was the deadliest airplane crash in history. January 22nd, 1973, the Ford Motor Company recalled nearly 4 million automobiles because of a defective steering problem. It was the largest automobile recall in history up to that time. And January 22nd, 1973, in Kingston, Jamaica, George Foreman knocked out Joe Frazier to become the heavyweight championship of the world. Can you imagine all of those things? All of those things happened on the same day, January 22nd, 1973. And finally, birthdays at 29 minutes after the hour. He was the biggest celebrity of his time, Lord Byron. He was known as George Gordon Byron. He was the 6th Lord Byron, was born in the state in 1788. Died pretty young. He died at the age of 36. He was an English poet. He wrote Don Juan. If you've ever read Don Juan, it's a long poem, but it's pretty darn good. He was a poet. He was a politician. He was a revolutionary. And in retrospect, many historians believe Lord Byron may well have been one of the smartest men ever. They don't know what his IQ was, but they estimate he was absolutely a genius. Lord Byron, who's a pretty good writer, even though, you know, you have to deal with the syntax of somebody who was writing in the early 1800s, is still pretty darn good. Lord Byron, born in the state in 1788. Poor Fred Vinson. His heart was in the right place. He was born in the state in 1890. He was one of the very few people in this country's history who served in all 3 branches of the federal government. Fred Vinson did. He was a member of Congress from the state of Kentucky from 1924 to 1938. Then he was the Secretary of the Treasury, so he was in the executive branch, and he was in Congress. And then after the death of Harlan Fiske Stone, he became the Chief Justice of the United States of America from 1946 to 1953. In fact, he was the last member of the Democratic Party to be Chief Justice. All of his predecessors after Fred Vinson died have all been Republicans. And poor Fred Vinson took over a court that was fussing and feuding and was completely dysfunctional. And when Fred Vinson died 7 years later, still the Chief Justice, the Supreme Court was as dysfunctional as it ever was, but thank goodness Earl Warren took his seat and led the court to greatness. Fred Vinson, born in the state in 1890. Sam Cooke, the undisputed king of soul, was born in the state in 1931, shot to death in Los Angeles in 1964 at the age of 33, one of the 10 original inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When it comes to singing soul music, he was the best there ever was. The legend, Sam Cooke. Put him on your turntable. You'll be glad you did. Finally, happy birthday to Guy Fieri. I'm not much of a food guy. Well, I like spicy food. But when I'm channel flipping and I come across the Food Network and Guy Fieri is on, I gotta watch his shows. He's terribly entertaining. He's a pretty good chef. Of course, he loans his name out to restaurants. He only owns like a couple restaurants, but you can use his name for other restaurants if you, of course, are good enough. Guy Fieri, the television host and food guy, is 52 years old today. I think I'll wear my hair like Guy for the rest of the day. Hey, you know, Lake Chelan's Winterfest is 2 weekends long. They had it last weekend. They're going to have it again this weekend. This would be a perfect time to take advantage of the destination deal at Campbell's Resort. You know what it is by now. All you have to do is be a local. Just be from the North Central Washington area. Give Campbell's a call. Say, hey, Campbell's, I'm a local. I live here. I'd like to stay a day or two or a night or two or 3 or 4 at your fantabulous resort. Pamper myself, chill out, and enjoy the quietness and the beauty that is Lake Chelan. If you are a local, you can get a room at Campbell's Resort starting at just $95 a night. That's not a misprint. It's the real deal. Starting at just $95 a night. They're going to do it at least through the month of January. Ours is not to question why. If Campbell's wants to rent you a room for $95 a night if you're a local, hey, go for it. That's what I say, Campbell's Resort. Since 1901. They know what they're doing there. All right, 32 minutes after they are going to take a break. Everybody's entitled to Mike McNaughty's opinion, and then Steve Hair's conversation with the Sheriff of Chelan County, Brian Burnett. Fascinating stuff indeed. It's all coming up between now and the top of the hour. You're watching a Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
The world around us is constantly changing. Major employers in North Central Washington have expressed a need for capable, qualified engineering technologists who can think critically and solve problems. And at Wenatchee Valley College, we listened. We are pleased to offer a Bachelor of Applied Science Engineering Technology degree to provide you with a world of new opportunities. Your time is now. The future is waiting for you.
How much are you paying for adult, family, or assisted living? Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living offers one-bedroom apartments for one affordable price. Their rates are all-inclusive. No nickel or diming or sudden increases, just one set price. You or your loved one will receive good food and excellent care in a relaxed, home-like environment. Stop on by for a tour to see if the Epladolin family is the right choice for you.
Family-owned and operated Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living in Cashmere. Affordable care.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
We're here because of the children, because the children need to be protected. Their needs aren't being met.
They didn't ask for any of this stuff. It's not their choices that got them here.
The more adults that a child has that love them, the better off they are.
Children
need a whole community to raise them. And if we can do any little thing, it makes a big difference in the child's life.
Are you like many who are lacking in their retirement plan but are skeptical to talk to an advisor? Are you concerned about where you should put your money or who to trust? At Solomon Financial, we are more about the people we serve than policies or products. We are a fee-based fiduciary with the mission of giving you the peace of mind so you can live the retirement of your dreams. If you have any of these questions or concerns, we'd welcome you to come see us.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, did you ever notice that hearing loss is the only physical disability which the person who is suffering from hearing loss is blamed and yelled at because of this disability? Now think about it. Who shows disrespect to a blind person because they can't see? Who disdains the physical shortcoming of an amputee? Do we blame a person who is paralyzed from the waist down for being in a wheelchair? No, of course not. But just wait. Just wait until somebody's hearing starts to go, and brother, oh, is that different? If you have to say what, come again, or huh, because you don't hear something, people get mad at you. Now, how much sense does that make? So, my hearing's going, and my family's insisting I get hearing aids. Ain't gonna do it. And you know why? Because I've already heard enough. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
A better grip, right when you need it. The 2020 Nissan Altima has tech you can't get in a quarter Camry, like available intelligent all-wheel drive. This is instant confidence. This is Nissan Intelligent Mobility.
Nissan has some of the best-selling cars and SUVs in the country, and they're all here at Town Nissan, up behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
So rumors have been swirling around about a reopen, just like the storm clouds in September that flooded the walk. So here's the word straight from the horse's mouth. This is Sean, and I want to personally invite you down to the walk and check out the extensive repairs, new floors, and a couple additions. The Walkabout Grill is reopened with a fresh new look. We've been giving the place a facelift while we wait. So come on down to the walk in Wenatchee and get your noodle fix. Swimsuits are no longer required. Walkabout Grill, where eating out is eating healthy, with 2 awesome locations to serve you in Wenatchee and Leavenworth.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning has been proudly serving the Wenatchee Valley for over 35 years. And just as Dick's has been there for you, they have also been an essential part of our community, supporting local youth sports all year long and your Wenatchee Wild.
Thanks for your support. Thanks, Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, for all your support. Thank you.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, your local, independent, trained comfort specialist. Call 884-6444 today.
Reinventing FaceTime here at Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, a new family-owned and operated business located in the heart of downtown Wenatchee. Owner Andrew Vickery brings forth years of experience to help you transition your backyard into a place where memories are made, family time is looked forward to, and friends are always welcome. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa offers many different styles and sizes of artesian spa. Let us help you add hydrotherapy to your already healthy lifestyle.
Let's welcome Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett to our In Focus program today, talking about law enforcement activities here in Chelan County. First and foremost, Sheriff, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here, Steve.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Doing good so far? Staying warm?
I got my warm clothes on this morning.
It's really starting to get chilly, and we can talk a little bit about that and what that means for your guys out there in the cold and how they have to accommodate that. But anyway, let's talk. First of all, there's some breaking news this week. Unfortunately, there was apparently a homicide up in the Cashmere area. 96-year-old woman was victim of apparently a pretty brutal murder, and I wanted to get a status report on that investigation. As I understand, the suspect did make her preliminary court appearance yesterday, and she's been remanded to the court, as I understand. So can you tell us from what you've gleaned from the investigation so far, what happened?
Well, obviously, I mean, you know, I received a 911 call shortly after, I think, 2 in the morning when the suspect, 70-year-old female, called in and reporting that she had just murdered her mother. And so first responders, sheriff's office, respond on scene and found a pretty, you know, traumatizing, gruesome scene on site. So it was a very involved situation. Obviously, there's no doubt that there's some mental health issues there, but our investigators were able to work along with Washington State Patrol, because they have some equipment that they'll bring in and assist us in that. But full cooperation from the suspect, you know, as far as giving.
She had notified, actually.
Oh yeah, she was the one that called 911, gave a full confession, and detailed on what actually happened there that evening, and then unfortunately that's about all I can really say today.
Do you know anything about the relationship that this woman had with her mother?
No.
No history of contacts with law enforcement?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, from what I understand, they were living there 3 generations in the house. The elderly female mother and our suspect, 70 years old, and then they had the other daughter that was living there as well, so 3 generations.
Appears to be kind of an unusual case, rather bizarre. Obviously, you don't encounter these types of cases very often.
No, we don't, and that'll be one of the interesting thing when the prosecutor file charges, and to see what the judges do with that as far as incarceration and bail, and then again, mental health history when, or if there is some there, and then when the defense counsel and who's representing the suspect, what will become of that if there's going to be any mental health evaluations. I'm sure there's going to be some type of involvement there, and again, speculation by my part at this point, but I would assume that, yeah, we've got some unusual circumstances here that's driving someone's behavior.
Interesting. Have you ruled out elder abuse, or again, you said there was no history of
just an extreme violent act, and not sure where that came from and what drove that. Really not a clear motive there.
I want to touch on different law enforcement topics here on In Focus today with Sheriff Brian Burnett. Again, winter weather, cold weather's here again. How are your guys coping with that?
You know, they do really well, and I think one of the biggest things is we try to be mission specific. You know, and you'll see, you know, our staff wearing jumpsuits. It's a winter weight one, but boy, when it's temperatures out here in the low teens and single digits, and a wind chill factor, it's going to cut right through. But we try to provide them with the right gear for the right time of the year and what they have going. And what that means is cold and heat are some of our 2 biggest environment factors there. And so making sure the guys have a proper, what we call undergarments as well. We provide them in our clothing allowance to make sure that they have that to stay as warm as possible. Do you have you know, something to put on your head and your hands and your feet, because you got to keep your feet dry and warm. Those are one of the most important things. And one of the big things that, boy, if you get down on a traffic accident scene where the pavement is frozen, you're going to quickly find how that transfers right up through your feet wear. And so, boy, I'm hoping that you have the right insulated equipment on, or you can get extremely cold in a hurry.
I've covered some structure fires in this types of weather where the water basically just freezes all over the place.
Yeah, and at the same time, then if you are going to be actively moving, and say we're on a search and rescue, I mean, we had an incident here not that long ago in the last month where we had an elderly person that was missing up in the Leavenworth area from late in the night. It was going to be really cold, and they found that person down in a crawl space of a residence nearby. And so hypothermia could be it. But my point in there is you dress warm to be standing still, and then all of a sudden now you're active in movement, and then you can get all, you know, sweaty, and then all of a sudden you come to a stop and your body's wet, and then you're exposed to the elements. So trying to manage all of those things. And then again, heat in the summertime is the exact opposite, and making sure people are staying hydrated and using the proper things to stay cool as best they can.
And what's appropriate for the deputies out there, it holds true for the average citizen as well, and those people that are venturing into the backcountry, they should go prepared as well.
Extreme weather can affect our equipment. We have a lot of electronics now inside the vehicles, so if it's too hot, sometimes they got to keep those cars running, keep the air conditioners, or the equipment will actually shut down on our computerized equipment. And at the same time, in the wintertime, some of that equipment actually has to go inside with them at night, especially when we get into the single-digit numbers, and just to take care and plan ahead. So it actually works when you need it.
I know what happens occasionally, but do you ever encounter someone who breaks the law just to get warm and have to spend the night in a jail?
Yeah, we've seen that, I think, time and time again. I was down for an early morning coffee meeting yesterday, and was downtown and headed for the coffee place, and saw a gentleman in a sleeping bag, and this was our first real cold morning, and it's someone that I'm familiar with. I've seen him around, and I just mentioned to him, I said, hey, you need to get inside at night. And that you have the ability to do that.
There are warming shelters here.
Yeah,
in the
unfortunately, we have different individuals for different various reasons, whether it's through addiction, that they don't stay clean and sober, and then they get removed from those facilities, or some of their hygiene practices are so severe that causes an issue, because they put off such an odor, and it just is what it is. And so trying to manage those things, but even for those people as well, as there's that, staying concerned and compassionate, saying, hey, if you're not careful, your exposure to this extreme cold could affect your life. And so trying to push them and encourage them to find a place to shelter.
I know we have the point in time homeless census that comes up, I think, in February, or at least the end of this month. What does it look like in Chelan County? I know that's mostly an urban problem, I think, that we have with homeless, but in the unincorporated areas of Chelan County, is it also a problem?
Yeah, it's not nearly, especially in this time of the year.
Yeah.
People go to where the resources are in the cold, inclement weather. But in the summertime, more of the transient time, we got a lot of migrant workers coming through. Seeing the difference between what that looks like, somebody that's down on their luck versus someone that's got some mental health issues or some extreme addiction issues. And sometimes those cross over, as maybe they have mental health issues because of their extreme addiction and their behavior and their abuse of substance prior, just a long track record. And so what I think we see more than not is we see random people that are kind of a nuisance to certain different areas in our unincorporated areas. And sometimes that's could be some of our contract cities like Leavenworth and Cashmere or Chelan. We all see the email pass down throughs where our staff are dealing with the same person or persons over a period of time continually, and then they're trying to manage that. And sometimes we've tried to get them resources and they're not interested in being helped. And so then you have to find a solution for the residents and the business owners to try to mitigate that within the lawful, in a lawful way, because a lot of times people will call in, Steve, and say, hey, we've got this issue here, and then when you actually look up the laws, they're not actually breaking a law, but they are, being a nuisance in a big way. So trying to mitigate those factors is a lot of what we do in the Sheriff's Office.
We're talking with Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett on In Focus today. Another topic that we might touch on, Brian, is the upcoming legislative session. The previews that I'm reading are that among the different pieces of legislation that they'll be considering would be a ban on assault weapons and limits on magazine capacity. Again, we're seeing the gun control measures being brought before the legislature. Do you foresee any movement on that front, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I wasn't interested in it before. As far as what I mean by interested, I'm not supportive of those bans. And specifically too, is this, people are saying, is this really a public safety issue or is it a gun grab? And I'll let you be that deciding factor. I have my own personal opinions, but we try to look at it from my position is, how does that affect public safety? And I know there's a lot of talk out there, especially on the magazine bans on high capacity, and has that had an impact on our deadly shootings. And the studies that I'm hearing and receiving is saying, no, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so if people can show me that that's really making an impact in a positive way, then I think you could say they have somewhat of an argument. But again, is that very rare cases and such? Again, it's not the firearm or the piece of equipment that is actually the reason for that incident and people loss of life. It's actually the mental state and the act that that person is taking under themselves.
Okay.
So.
Understand you had a recent situation where a deputy had to use the defibrillator.
Yeah, the AED.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So we have AEDs in our vehicles, and I'll give a big shout out to Dr. Job up in our emergency room up here at, I still call it Central Washington Hospital.
It is,
but, and he was a big factor, and some other people that helping us get some grant monies. And then we've seen some other people jump on board. Maybe it's a local Rotary or Lions Club or Kiwanis and such. And so we've outfitted a majority of our vehicles. And we assign those specifically to our outline areas.
Mm-hmm.
So if we got people that are working up in the Lake Chelan Valley or up in the Leavenworth and Lake Wenatchee area, those are the cars we want those defibrillators in first, because we believe that majority of the time, if not almost all the time, our deputies are going to have the ability to be first responders even before fire or EMS. And we actually had a deputy respond to a call out in the Leavenworth area yesterday where they heard there was a CPR cardiac issue going on and a CPR in progress. And she was just within a couple minutes away, grabbed her AED from her vehicle and was able to apply that. I guess the person on scene was actually a EMT or EMS worker, and so they worked together and activated it, and they had a positive outcome, and that person is alive and well today. And I think that's awesome, because we could go out and raise a couple $100,000, and for me, and if it's one save, it's worth all of that resources. But we need to have the percentages, we need to get them in the vehicle. So we still got a little bit of work to do there, Steve, and raising maybe a little bit more money, and being able to get them in every one of our marked patrol vehicles.
Good deal. Well, congratulations to that deputy. Good work. One final question: How was the Leavenworth Lighting Festival in terms of traffic and enforcement this year?
It was heavy, but I will say that from our staff, our Chief of Special Operations, Jason Reinfeld, our City Sergeant, Scott Lawrence, working with the city, working with the Department of Transportation and Washington State Patrol, a couple of things they've done over the last couple of years is to be able to manually control the traffic lights in the city of Leavenworth. They've had some trafficking, cycling issues, even as far down as the Peshastin Main Street light.
I can understand that.
On Highway 2. But they actually set up a remote site location inside the Leavenworth City Hall. They can monitor those from like a TV type of live feed and actually change those lights accordingly, and they don't even have to have somebody standing there. And then they use the rest of our people that are actually staffed to actually mitigate the rest of the area, downtown issues and congestion and back in the residential areas. So.
Well, my gauge on the success of that traffic control enforcement would be actually the lack of critical comments that I'm seeing on Facebook. So that volume of comments was down this year, so I assume that meant that things went a lot smoother.
And I don't think you're going to see that event get less people.
No.
It's going to stay very popular. It's going to bring a lot of people in, and Highway 2 is just a two-lane road. So the infrastructure can only hold so much. So it's always going to be busy. But again, I think they've got it dialed in pretty good. So now it'll be maybe just a few things to tweak and try to fine tune it. Some of the things that the local residents used to do for mitigation of that before GPSs came in was they used to be able to take some of the back roads around. Well, now GPS formatting is almost updating you lifetime to say,
Yeah.
here's your best route, here's your best route, and so they will reroute you. So now maybe I'm coming from Cashmere for Shaston, and I'm trying to get to Leavenworth and say I want to take the North Shaston Road as a detour and save myself some time. It may or may not save yourself time just because of that.
So we're seeing a lot more traffic in those neighborhoods then too. Huh?
Yeah, and the city resident side of it, as far as, because we get a lot of people that park back out in those areas. So coming back off of Pine Street and Ski Hill, and there's nothing we can do there. That's just going to take time. So if you just know that if you attend those festivals, Steve, that it's
some patience.
And plan ahead, knowing that I'm going to have to plan maybe an extra hour to get home to Wenatchee. So.
Well, that takes care of our little talk for this afternoon, and I appreciate your coming in and talking. And we'll do this again maybe in a month. How's that sound?
Thanks, Steve, and Happy New Year to everybody.
You bet. Sheriff Brian Burnett, Chelan County, joining us on In Focus. I'm Steve Hair, NCW Life News.
No calories, no sweeteners, all smiles. Bubbly, sparkling water. Crack a smile.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner with dine-in or takeout options. Highlander Grill's friendly staff is here to serve you 7 days a week this winter. Contact Chelan, Highlander Grill's site coordinator, to schedule your corporate event or special occasion.
My awesome is being able to share my passion for yoga. I found yoga in my mid-40s to help me kind of de-stress and calm down, and it actually changed my life. Washington Trust believed in me. I felt like, okay, they got my back. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna go for it. It actually makes you feel like more brave. I do have a lot of awesome in my life.
What's your awesome? Whatever it is, we'll help you get there.
Boating in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. Now you can fish like a pro without breaking the bank thanks to the ProMag aluminum fishing boat by Smokercraft. It features a great layout with a spacious bow casting platform, huge live wells, and in-floor storage to safely stow your gear. See the Smokercraft line of boats at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
All right, got a couple of minutes left on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We always like to do the weather forecast a couple of times during this program, so let's go ahead and do it again. Take a look-see at where you live. That's the expected snow today. We're not going to get much of anything, really. That upper level trough that brought the rain and the snow to our region yesterday is already exiting. There's a weak one coming through, so a little bit of light snow today. It's not going to accumulate. We're talking, of course, less than half an inch, and then it's going to switch over to rain later on today. But once again, as you can see, the Cascades are going to get a lot of heavy, wet snow. So it's all about elevation, folks, where you live. But for the most part today, the story is going to be a little bit of snow, a little bit of rain, and then all rain later on today. Let's go ahead and take a look at your forecast one more time from the National Weather Service. There you go. A little bit of snow. It's going to be kind of like yesterday, just a little bit later on in the day. We could get a little bit of snow around 10 or 11 this morning. It could then a rain-snow mix and then a little bit of rain after that. High today of only about 36 degrees. We have an 80% chance of precipitation, but again, most of that will be coming down in the form of rain later on this afternoon. Then things get really interesting. Instead of getting colder overnight, it's actually going to get warmer. We'll dip down to about 33 degrees around 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. Then it's going to start warming up, and by midnight, we'll be near 40, which is kind of odd. This is this next system that's coming through. There's a big atmospheric river that's just pointed right at us. It's going to bring lots of warm and moist air to the Wenatchee Valley and all of north central Washington. So a good chance of rain, very warm on Thursday, near 40. Overnight lows, you can see Thursday night 35, so significant snow melt will continue on Friday, mid-40s on Friday, with again a pretty good chance of rain, another good dose of rain on Saturday and right on into Sunday. No sunshine at all, very mild temperatures. Overnight lows will not dip below freezing, so it's going to be wet and it's going to be mild for the Wenatchee Valley. Speaking of wet conditions up to the major mountain passes we go. That's a live shot of I-90. Things have improved a great deal, although they still have a traction tire advisory. For the most part, the roadway is bare and wet, but there's still a traction tire advisory on Snoqualmie Pass. Stevens right now covered in snow, as you'll be able to see here. There's still a traction tire advisory. They are not going to do avalanche control work. That's good news there. And Blewett Pass is traction tires advised. And that's it for us. Have yourself a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.